recording. Hello, everyone. We're back. Jack, Liam,
episode
good. Episode
57,
worth 17,
yeah.
21.
I think 17.
Probably
Yes,
17.
No, good. I'm good.
The wise old head told us so. It's 17. Sorry, Liam. Are we all right, guys?
Yeah, all good.
Good.
Just
Run up
about
to Christmas and all that as
weekend.
a recording. Yeah, I'm gonna say yeah. Well, we'll get into it, but you guys have been busy, right? Well, I've been busy as well, to be fair. Just not at the same place. But yeah, good to hear that you're both good. So I'm still like consciously looking for this goblin that I'm wanting to try and paint.
Stop
but
getting
it's just
distracted by a goblin that you don't need.
a little goblin with an axe. God knows where
And
he is.
just stay
The actors. Yeah, sorry.
Well,
Yeah, stay focused on podcast.
The next 90 minutes to 120, and then
yeah,
look for the goblin
and
till
it
2 o'clock in the morning.
will. Yeah, maybe. Although I've been playing Dawnless Days, which is a mod for Total War for Lord of the Rings, so I probably will be up anyway. But yeah, this will probably be the last one before Christmas. So this is our Christmas show. I'm going to put a little jingle on the intro, I think, because to make it look pretty.
Picture of Demon Liam with a Christmas hat on.
Yeah,
no, you need to demonize.
Krampus sat here. Liam, you are never losing that title after what you did. You've even stopped playing the armor because you're an evil man.
No, well,
he's redeemed himself. He's redeemed himself. Liam the Redeemer.
To some degree.
You need a Christ the Redeemer, but Liam's face on it now.
Oh God! Do you know how many people that would trigger? That's how you get cancelled, that Jack. Right. Shall we get on with it? What we got first? We've got the news, haven't we?
News. It's a bit old news now.
A little bit of news, just a tad bit of news. Let's put a ticker on. There we go. Yay! Another Arcane Journal. Do you know what? I don't mind these because of the price point for one, and the stuff that's in it's really good. I think if you look at some of the, let's use AOS as an example, when they brought out their like little campaign books for Path to Glory and stuff like that, what nobody played, but they're still 35, 40 quid a book. These at what, £17 retail? A bang on for what you get in them, and they're all usable as well, aren't they? So
yeah, even if it doesn't, like, this is obviously got the Marauder stuff in. But it's got all the new magic items. It's got a Path to Glory. It's got 3 new scenarios. Like, there's something there for everyone.
Yeah,
like,
and I think that's what I like about them. Well, that's what I like about them is that, I mean, for me, it's obviously different because I buy all the Arcane Journals anyway because I need them for the events and every army and stuff. But you're not, maybe apart from probably this one, I think all the others you buy specifically for your army, don't you? This one you could probably buy just for the magic items, but then again, all the army builders and stuff, they'll have the rules in there anyway, won't they? Right? But it's good to have this for reference and stuff, I think.
Yeah,
which is what I like about the journals. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
in them as well. Right?
Yeah, and I think there's some of the new missions in here for, I forget what you call it now, but you know the smaller points games in this as well, isn't there?
Battle March.
That's it. Yeah. There's a few. I think 3 new missions in there.
Yeah, 3.
Yeah, which
look
quite good actually.
Ones, but yeah,
all good. Yeah, they look cool though. Yeah, I've not actually read the Marauder stuff, so this is where all of the new profiles and stuff are in here as well, aren't they now?
It is, so it's quite exciting really in that regard. But we saw it a bit with the Tomb King mounts for that one shiny new horse. But it's just a shiny new horse, wasn't it? But again, now obviously move towards replacing bits and bobs when they want to, and giving them like new rules updates and just tweaking things by a point or 2 or new upgrades, and it's kind of came a little out of left field. It's quite exciting for what can come next.
This excites me. This looks very demony. What are they teasing? What are they giving us?
It's a demon prince.
Must be a generic demon prince. Best be a demon army.
But,
here's to hoping there, Jack.
It's just really good. Great
Cool,
book.
and some very good new items.
Yeah.
Very good new item.
Anyone caught your eye, Jack?
I really like the Icon of Fortitude, which gives immune to multiple wounds to an infantry. So in my ogre army is really nice, as often my my tyrant's nemesis was a multi-wounding dwarf, which would often chop him to pieces. So that's really handy to me. Obviously, there's a couple of nice new banners. There's the Totem of Wrath, which is the extra AP on the charge and reroll in ones to wound.
I've seen that floated around quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anti-stomp banner, which is, putting another nail in the head of those dragons and monsters that have been dominating the game for the last 12 months.
I think that's useful in a higher point game, I think, because you don't necessarily see the monsters at 2k and less, I don't think. But like the 250, 260 one, I think it's definitely worth it in that, taking it in that.
Well, there's definitely some chaos lists that are running double dragon, double spawn.
Yeah,
exactly.
Even at those smaller lists where you've probably only got one unit, then it becomes even better because it's just, your one unit is protected. Pretty much cancels out any monsters at those lower point games.
It's just trying to get enough models to carry banners, though, isn't it? That's the thing. You can only take 2 banners in a unit.
And then I think there's a couple of nice new sort of arcane items, but I think my issue is a lot of the armies I run usually focus on needing the spell familiar. And obviously that locks down the arcane slot, and in an ogre army to bring something else in to carry one of those items, you end up paying 150 points for another sorcerer. So although they look good, they very quickly just run out of money in the sort of ogre army. But I'm sure in some of those sort of cheaper armies where you can get really cheap casters, then there'll be some really nice combos for those extra rerolls and castings and sort of extra bonuses to casting and dispelling.
I want to give a shout out to want to give a shout out to the Meteor Hammer as well. We'll come on to when I played against it at the weekend, but just always winning on a 3+ at -3. Is so ridiculously reliable. Right,
Giving it a
hit
goblin
dragon,
by any chance,
if you get a 4-attack goblin, it's still not bad. It's got a roll to hit, right? And that's at 4s at worst.
Yeah, and it's cancelling out your all those sort of infantries that suddenly got really tough because of parry. That AP3 sort of tends to chop through the majority of that armor now, which is nice. You got a favorite, Dan?
I've got, well, on paper, yes. The Sword of Sorrow on paper is great. In practice, it's absolutely garbage, but that's not the sword itself. It's me rolling like absolute dirtbag. But yeah, it's the so it's the sword that isn't a combat weapon; it's a throwing weapon. 30-inch. I think it's strength 5, AP1, armor bane 3 or 2. Can't remember
2
off the top of my head. Armor bane 2, so it becomes AP3.
AP1, armor bane 2, magic.
Yeah,
and
magic attacks. Multi wounds D3 or multi wounds 2.
2.
Yeah. So it's decent at. I think its main
turns off wards and regens, which is the big thing.
Yeah,
right?
I'm gonna say I think the main thing for it is either plinking off a couple of wounds on one of those annoying minor monsters, like a dragon ogre Shaggoth or something like that. Obviously, you're gonna need 6s to wound it really to make a dent in its armor, but or it's really good if you can get behind on war machines, especially elf ones that only have 2 wounds. So
you still got to roll out a 5+ to wound, though, right?
Yeah,
you do, but you do roast stuff. I think that's the problem with it. I think it's unless your opponent is not thought about it and left a character out in the open, I think you're gonna need 5s or 4s to win most things because that's what he's gonna be aiming at.
Yeah, I think it's a shame it's not extremely common. I think it'd be very nice to have a line of them to sort of combat balloons.
Yeah, imagine how many Empire captains you're gonna have with Sword of Sorrows. I think they're the cheapest, like Lord levels, aren't they? Like, what are they, like 50 points or something? They Ring of Jet all over again, just probably a lot more reliable, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, like you can hit with it. And I thought I could use it with a Waystalker, but you can't, because apparently the FAQ says that their eagle-eyed archery can only be used with the bow.
Yeah,
So
to stop
you
the
can't
ruby
use
ring
it.
at the time, wasn't it?
Yeah, which has nerfed my idea with that. And I
It's,
bought the
I mean,
model
it's
as
still
well.
a very high ballistic skill model, though. That's going to be hitting.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know,
Yeah.
hitting on good values rather
Yeah.
than putting it on a.
It's a shame you can't
thing.
use both. Like, you can't use your bow and your sword. But hey. And then the other one is oh god, the levitating shield. I'm trying to model that in on one of my lists. I just like it as a cool item. It's just fun. You know, being able to use a great weapon with a shield is quite fun, or a halberd, or you know, anything really, anything two-handed is really cool. And it gives
cool.
I think the important thing for me is it gives you some sort of hobby thing to look at as well, aim for, like you know, a floating shield you could put on a flight stand or something like that, or as you've mentioned, Minds on Goblins could sit on top of some mushrooms, stuff like that. I think it'll look quite cool. So that's always a win for me as well, that you can hobby on it. But yeah, and then as you've already said about the banners, really cool.
Feels a little expensive, that shield, especially when you compare it to like you know, the
does,
shield that gives you a 6-up ward, whereas this is just adding a pip to your armor, but it's 25 points. It's a little expensive.
Yeah,
there's clearly a bit of a tax in there to let you use two-hand weapons, but it's still, I'm not majorly sold.
No, especially now that you know a lot of armor's capped at 3+ for a lot of things and that sort of stuff. It just feels a bit. If it could get you to like a 1+ or something, then yeah, I can see where the value is in that. But to sort of max out at a 3+ on a lot of models, and yeah, feels a bit spinny.
Yeah. What about you, Liam? I bet you've got loads because you study everything ever.
To be honest, I think I say that meaty hammer's my favourite item outside of Monster Hunter's Tapestry. So, right, outside of that, I think there's a lot of ability to spend points on something that may or may not be useful. A bit like the Beastman Arcane Journal had.
Yeah, I tried the becoming orb at the weekend, which is a hex on an 8 and it's a single use, and half the time I just
it just didn't work.
failed to cast. Yeah, so it's not like the Tomb King ones where you just get to keep trying to tempt it until it's used, and then it's a single use. It's just use it once. It might go off, it might not.
The other one I quite like is Banner of a Swirling Wind.
Yeah, I was going to say that with my other banner. Yeah, that's really
quite good if you want to stack negatives to hit on a single unit, or if you want to take like 2 blocks of Marauders in your Chaos Army, you can now take both of them with a -1 to hit banner and kind of reduce what incoming fire they take.
I think the Orcs and Goblins can do it as well, because they always can take that one. I think I don't know if it's called like the Griff's Windy banner or something stupid like that, which also gives you -1 to hit and shoot. I'm sure it does. There is definitely another banner that gives you -1. I know the Chaos have got the Icon of Darkness, haven't they?
Yes.
And then they've also got, well, they can actually get -3 if you have a BSB. You can get Diabolical Splendor as well.
Yeah.
Which is the Slaneshi type.
You just put a toe in some wood to get an extra minus from that. You're all good.
Yeah, just be immune to being shot at unless it's a cannonball or magic missile. Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously, and we haven't talked about the Arch Lightning Rod, which is another anti-fly item. So a couple of armies can probably stack 2 or 3 turns of anti-fly into their into the list.
I think what it does is it gives access to every army. What some of the other armies have got, like you said, the -1 banner, the anti-fly stuff now as well. Every army can take it. Well, Cathay can do 2, can't they? They've got their own. Beastmen have got their own.
Skaven,
Bretts, yeah. Skaven aren't real. Sigmar lied, remember, whoever that guy is.
I'm a big fan of like every army having access to some things, but
yeah, I agree.
If it's not yours originally, you pay a bit more for it.
Yeah,
I think that's quite a nice balance. Like
a little tax on the goods.
Yeah, definitely.
Feels like we're at Marienberg Market and we're being scalped.
Yes, definitely.
I think what we were saying about the levitating shield, what it could be really good on, is something like a Dragon Ogre, a Shaggoth, or a.
You can't take shields.
Oh, can they not? What about a Doomball who can take a shield?
Yeah,
can
but
then
he wants
take
you to
two
come
big
with anyway.
actors. Nah, he just used two big actors, and he could look cool riding around on the magic
Yeah, I
carpet.
think you probably want your full plate chaos armor on him, though, don't you?
Yeah, you do.
You can take that anyway.
Is it a common item on top, the enchanted? No, so is it one?
Nah.
You get to choose one or the other. Oh, so yeah. So it's not going to replace a lot of
It'll
other
say
armor that
in
you
its,
usually have on your characters. It might be
it's not quite
something
like
that you put on. I might put it on my Iron Gut champion or something like that potentially. Oh no, he can't take shields either. So no, never mind. Yeah, it sounds good in practice, but in reality, I doubt we'll see it very rarely.
Is it only infantry lockjack? Just have a look.
It's not infantry. Yeah, infantry
no, it's not locked to infantry, but it's just.
It is.
All right, so I could give my dragon
prince.
My prince on a dragon in the levitating shield, so I could float a dragon around. That's what I'm
definitely
doing. Putting a dragon on a shield.
I don't think the shields. I don't think they're floating on the shield. Then I think the shield's floating in front of them, which lets them around the great weapon around.
It's like a void shield from 40k. I know what it is. Yeah. I just like the idea of someone being stood on it.
Yeah. So good journal. We're happy with it. We haven't had a look at what's the next journal, or have we seen what the next journal is? I can't remember.
Yeah, it's a cafe
one with all the new shooting infantries and stuff like that. Yeah, and peasants. And stuff.
Cafe round 3. Yeah, which we had a look. I think
that's probably going to be mid to late January. I'd expect that to.
They said what on the preview? They said late Q1.
Oh, okay. So maybe even
anywhere between middle of January, end of March, depending on what they feel like, I guess.
Yeah, because they've already done kind of a ghost pre-order release of the Maggotkin, haven't they? The new Maggotkin models, which is, I believe it was 4th of Jan pre-order release, 17th of Jan. So I would assume the second. I would assume when they release, that's when Cafe gets their pre-order date. I would assume. At a guess.
So yeah, so it's mid-February.
I'm presuming GW will do a Christmas Day reveal stream again. Which means we're probably going to find out what's coming after that. Maybe.
Yeah, we get a bit of a roadmap for the next quarter, half year sort of thing.
Which would be good.
I think a lot of people were talking about the next edition at the event, which we'll go into in a bit. But I think they're going to stick to the whole 3 to 4 year cycle thing with these games. I think now as well.
Yeah, I can't see another edition coming out when there's still so many journals going out left, right, and centre. I think it'll just be. I don't even know if we'll get a new edition as such. I think it'll just be gentle changes.
I don't think we need one
over periods of time, and they'll just react as needed, and we'll just sort of have a sort of 12-month delay on gripes, and it'll just gradually be phased in and out as sort of everyone demands. I think I'd be surprised until this sort of end of journal period is done.
Well, like they've done with this one though, they've obviously showed that they can change profiles from the original army book, so there's nothing stopping them to
happy to introduce brand new armies.
Just keep churning these out. And like I said before, with the price point and stuff and what's in them, I think they've absolutely nailed it, because you don't mind spending £15 on a book that's going to update your army rather than a £35 one every couple of months like some of the 40k and AOS ones are. So I think they've nailed it in that sense, absolutely. I think it's the way to go as well.
Yeah, and we've seen already that they're prepared to do big rules changes. When with the infantry, they made such big changes with the infantry and all that stuff, and they didn't need a new edition to do that. They were just, it'd be nice at some point to have an actual big rule book that is up to date and stuff. But I think with this model where they just drip feeding rules through, maybe the big rule book's just not needed anymore. Like if it's going to be outdated every couple of months, then I don't know. Do people want to invest 50 quid into a big book like you're saying that's out of date so quickly? Like I don't understand. Maybe they'll just go to an e-publication version of it or something at some point and
a living rule book. We can all dream a living rule book. That'd be awesome. That would be
but
nice.
Anyway, let's crack on. We've got plenty to talk about.
We have
into hobby.
What's this filth?
So this was me via Goonhammer getting sent the new Marauder box set from GW. Managed to get 10 of them and a Horseman sorted out in time for the embargo lifting. And yeah, they are absolutely fantastic models, and I'm really looking forward to getting the rest of them done. I've got another 10 that are half done, ready to complete this unit, and then a box set waiting at the local for me to go and collect at some point next time I'm down there. So
Nice.
I have a nice 100-foot Marauders by the time I've done all those, because I need 100-foot Marauders.
They are lovely.
Who doesn't?
I don't want to paint anymore. I've done 50 odd Marauders. I don't want to do anymore. And these guys have got more on them anyway, haven't they? So
they're not nearly as bad as even the cafe were, to be honest. They're really well proportioned, and there's a little bit of like the odd skull or the odd stone chain thing. But yeah,
I reckon fair.
Yeah,
I feel like these guys are more. They're not Chaos Marauders, they're more Norscan, aren't they, than they are
definitely
the old Chaos Marauders. Yeah, I think you could still get away with the Marauders, absolutely, old ones, the old Chaos ones, especially if you've obviously got your old Chaos. Obviously, you have to rebase them, but I think if you've already got an army kind of painted, like mine, for instance. I mean, mine gets used for Wolves of the Sea, so it's kind of a bit out of the thing because they're all bare chested and that. Whereas these guys obviously clearly fit that theme, don't they? Is the snowy.
These live up north.
Exactly.
Yeah, the no waste and snow and everything else. So yeah, I think you can definitely you could have, the Marauders that follow Khorne, or obviously always gonna have the Pecs and that, and then you have your Norscan Marauders. Which is what I like. You can still probably use. Well, you can use anything, but you know what I mean.
I think you missed out your biggest hobby news, though, Liam, haven't you?
Have I?
Yeah. You finally got your baggage train painted up.
I did get my baggage train painted up. Yes. I didn't even think about that, to be honest. But yeah,
6 months.
And you not even got a photo of it. Oh wow.
Well, we've got photos in all the names. It's fine.
Baggage
train. Yeah, it was literally about 6 months since I got
you got it from the Only Flanks.
Yeah.
One, didn't you, in summer? But you did a little. Did you model a little bit onto the front? That little bar, I think. Was that on there?
That was already there.
Yeah.
Zero effort. It was quite literally brown and washing. Jobs are good.
I'm gonna say arguably the easiest thing to paint. It took you 6 months to paint it.
And
doing
my one bit of hobby that I did was doing my baggage train for my ogres, and Liam's not put that on either.
If only I'd sent you a slideshow like 2 hours ago and said, if there's anything missing, let me know.
You'd think
it's such a scumbag, isn't it? Yeah. He's horrible. I had one job, Liam.
One job. It takes him ages. This does. Anyway.
Oh
my god! I know. Yeah, I've sold one Orc and Goblin army and bought another one, as you do.
Totally in the background, I can see.
Yeah, well, that's the great game.
Hearing or something. I can see at the bottom there.
You have to tell me what the mod is later.
I'm actually playing the Mirkwood campaign, so I'm obviously an elf player, so I'm playing elves. But yeah, I've so I sold my Nomadic War. I just couldn't get them on the table and didn't really want to paint them, so I thought, you know what, let's buy 90 goblins. So
something nice and easy to paint.
Yeah, something very, very quick to paint, very easy to paint. And then I thought, you know what, let's get 4 Mangler Squigs because that'd be cool. And then how many have I got? 12 Fanatics just to add to those 90 goblins. Oh yeah, and then a 10 Squig Riders.
You can't take 4 per unit, mate.
No,
3.
it's only 3.
You buy them in 4s. Well, I bought them in 4s.
You fasten the other ones on top of the Manglers.
Yeah. So, well, I've got 3 spare basically.
You could be you make your baggage train just a load of Fanatics, just 12 Fanatics stuck to a 60 by 100.
No, just all Fanatics. No, I printed some toadstools off for my baggage train, so I'm gonna put them on because you get some toadstools with the infantry kit and stuff as well. And interestingly as well, which I didn't realise until the other day when I built all these guys. So the command sprue for the Night Goblins, because it's the old Night Goblins, it's not the AOS ones, you get the Skaven command sprue
the shield, the skellies,
yeah, and the skeleton one. Yeah, so you just get like every command sprue just on this one sprue for every army. Yeah, I was like, why is this Night Goblin arm a skeleton arm? What's going on? Then I realised obviously it's got all the old school command sprues on it. But yeah, no, this is my list. I'm looking to take to Durham. Lots of characters, netters in there as well and stuff. So, but it's probably cost about the same as what I sold it as well. So I'm quite happy with it. But yeah, I've just got to get on and paint it now. And Aaron, who's actually running the event we're going to, Jack, he was at my event, and he was like, "Why have you done this?" I'm like, don't know.
Looking for paint.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, I've got most
yeah.
of the base coats down, so I'm quite happy with that. Well, on the robes, I'm going for a yellow kind of scheme, so yeah, we'll see. We'll get there. I've got a month.
6 weeks? Got 6 weeks?
Probably a month though, Jack's Christmas and stuff. Probably less than that as well, to be fair.
Yeah.
I'm going away New Year.
You'll be fine.
I will be. It's me. I'll get it done one way or another.
Yeah. And then the last bit of hobby-ish. I snuck along for one day Warhammer World event, the midweek one.
Oh, is this when you were Jack?
Ago.
This is yeah. This one
Jack
was me,
couldn't make it, so I borrowed his ticket.
Jack Leo.
I didn't get credit for my win.
Yeah. So took more to the sea, an all melee army, which obviously tends to be with chaos most of the time. Outside of magic, just as many dudes as I could put on the table with a manticore and a spawn. Tried to be fairly nice about the list rather than, because it didn't have any of the match play composition guidelines in. So I could have taken a 550 point dragon if I wanted to.
Fully uncomped, wasn't it?
And I bet somebody did as well.
There were some of them there.
Mm-hmm. We've already experienced that, haven't we? All three of us have experienced that.
Yeah.
So what do you know?
High elves.
3 lanterns.
Yeah. Played high elves in game 1 and just ran at them, and they it was a trace arm with 2 blocks of white lions and then a block of woodmen in that wood, and they just ran at it, and manticore and spawn did things. Game 2 against Tomb Kings, and they had a dragon of their own and a necrosphinx, but again I managed to surround things on multiple flanks, and I think I got the Tomb King general on maybe turn 4 with a spawn and a manticore, and just grind it out, and then the last few bits crumbled over the last couple of turns, and then played against 3 lanterns in the last game. The guy was really nice. I don't think he realised what he'd done at all when he wrote the list. I think he realised about halfway through game 2 that his opponents weren't killing anything. Yeah. But
when he was sat on his own at lunch.
Yeah.
Were they all just generic balloons, or was there a character?
One was a character. One was special and one was rare.
Jesus. But by the looks of that, you just ignored them and just ran and killed everything else.
Yeah. So I tried to use movement where he couldn't. So like I'd measure from this point of the balloon here at the back base to make sure that it finished about here on the dogs, like just so we couldn't clear the dogs.
Yeah.
And then it could have, like, even this one here, the back corner of that one doesn't fit in this gap between the horseman and the house. So that one, even though it's reasonably close there, actually can't get behind me. It's just about placement, and I got lucky and got from this point onwards the skin wolves, the unit marauder horsemen that are here, and the manticore all got into that giant block of jade warriors and went through it in a turn because he had no ranks because he was in the wood. And then I just got, at that point it was kill what I could. I got the character balloon by pushing it off the table. Effectively, it was like down here somewhere, and I got the Manticore a fairly long charge, but I had some dogs left in marching column, and they swung around to the point where they were within 2 inches of the back of the balloon. So if he didn't disengage, he would just be unbreakable back into him. So I would keep him in combat with a follow-up. But if he did disengage, he would go 20 inches off the board.
Smart.
I've got some pictures of that are in the tournament, Rob's.
Did he not realise who you were with Cafe? Clearly
do you not know who I am, son?
Yeah.
You bring this here and you do not know who I am?
No, like, it was. I think he learnt a lot in the game, and I definitely learned.
You made a monster. Did you make a monster?
No, he won't make the same mistake again. I think is the honest way to put it.
Yeah, I mean, I was just thinking off just the big block of dudes just stood in the woods, the complete rookie move, isn't it? Stuff like that, I guess, bless him.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
He didn't know that was a rule, and he did, and I didn't think to ask before I charged him because I basically had to get ranks one way or another.
Yeah, that's not on you though, anyway, is it? You're always going to assume people come to tournaments and they know the rules. I know it doesn't always work out like that, but is what it is. Bless. They look nice though, to be fair to him.
They were not craply done and pushed together.
Yeah, good.
And at the end of it, I picked up 3rd place for painting and 1st place overall.
Well done, Jack.
Happy with that.
Yeah, so that went straight into my rankings, so that was really useful. So cheers, Leo.
Was it actually in your name as well?
No.
All right. I know the ticket wasn't it? But...
Yeah, the ticket was, but he submitted it himself.
Yeah, he scanned my QR code in the morning, like, okay then, Jack. I'm like, name's Liam. I've taken Jack's ticket. He couldn't make it. Like, fair enough. And then the last bit of hobby between us is this.
Yeah. So this was my busy Saturday.
Wish this was between us.
Yeah, I know.
Honestly, I had so much fun playing this game because I've had so many people ask, because I've put all these on the Warlocks social media and stuff. I've had so many people like message me, what rules did you use? Well, what siege did rules are? Right? Literally none. We made them up. We give all the walls a toughness. We give them all the wounds. Everything was weapon skill 1 in terms of the wall, so they weren't auto hit, so you could still miss. But you're going to hit on 2s all the time, yeah. And then I think the walls were T8, so you could still wound them with some stuff like the higher weapons, which it should be. As you can see, like there's a the Thunder Tusk charging a wall, and we'll probably not really talk about the Mammoth because Mark, who brought it, bless him, was fuming when it got killed by 4 Sisters of Avalon. And then because we had a dwarf player on our side, so I was playing elves, another lad Tony was playing high elves as well, and then we had a dwarf player, and he was like, "That still only counts as 1." Like, okay, bro, but we'll take it. But yeah, no, we essentially how we played it was the defending team started with 2,000 points. And then it was up to the attacking team to take off points, essentially, to win the game. So it was breach the walls, burn the village, capture the keep, which is on the top right corner, right in the right corner there. But yeah, this is all the essentially it's all the club terrain that doesn't always get used. So it was nice to just get it out for Christmas with the guys at the club. And then I'd bought these 2 siege towers as well, painted them up, which were quite reasonably well priced actually for something that you can no longer buy. So we're quite happy to buy that. And then the second part of the castle. Say that again.
The legit.
Yeah, the GW ones. Yeah. And then the ones on. So the second part of the castle there, Mark, who had the Mammoth, there is home-made built ones. Castle wall he'd built. And you can't see it on any of the photos, but it actually had a working door and a working drawbridge as well. I don't think you can see it on any of these. Well, you can see the back of the door, and then the Mammoth, which he asked me what I could use it, what he could use it as. I was like, well, have a look through some of the old PDFs and old Chaos War books and stuff, and he found the old profile, and I think it was around the 6th ed.
It could be a bone grinder or something like that.
Yeah, well, if he actually did find it, it looked all right. To be fair, I think it was T7 with 10 wounds and a 5-up save. So, yeah, let's do that. And it was strength 10 or something like that. But it never got to do anything because it got shot to hell. So
it does look amazing though on the table.
Yeah, I actually really enjoyed setting it up.
How many points of models were on there
then? So the defenders, well, we changed it because it was supposed to be 4-a-side, but
back in a sec.
Okay, we had quite a bit of illness in and around Sheffield, and well, I've just recovered from that bloody super flu.
Everyone seems to be
so it hit the club quite hard. I think the week before, so last week, there was a lot of people off poorly, so we ended up not doing the club because there was just no point because everyone was ill. But no, the actual the mammoth is actually the Mummikill from Lord of the Rings. Just with a lot of milliput, and then he's made the actual Howder himself, I think, as well. And he's got like really old school marauders to go in it.
Nice.
But yeah, it's all the old club terrain. It's old club terrain. It's the club terrain that doesn't get used for events.
5,000 points aside or something like that, is it?
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah. So it was originally it was supposed to be 1,500 points for the attack, for the defenders, sorry.
And how many?
So
6,000 altogether.
No, so it was
4 times 1,500.
Yeah, so it were 6,000 for us. Sorry, yeah. And then the attackers got 2,000 each. But if you're on the board where the long edge one, you got recycled unit, so they come on after. On the other side, you can just see on the the short board edge. So they had to deploy marching column and they had to march on from the back, but they didn't have any like siege towers or anything. They had ladders. But we said we wouldn't defend that one as heavy because obviously we've got to try and kill all this. So it actually worked out quite well. Although the attackers, I think, made a bit of a mess up because they put Chaos Dwarves on that side in marching column. It's like, why? Why have you done that? Like, surely you should have put like the mammoth on that side. But I think they got a bit sidetracked with having recycled units. So we said you could recycle the mammoth, but it's like you probably wanted it on the other side. But I'm not sure if Liam has any in-game pictures. But they did manage to break the castle walls and the gates down. But we went to 6 turns and we held on in the end. Although if you can see the gate there, you see that one gorger. He was in combat with that gate from turn 1 because he scouted there.
Yeah. Well, you can't charge if you scout. So
but yeah, he was punching the gate for 6 turns.
How were you playing, like shooting and casting magic over into the castle?
So magic missiles and stuff, it was just hitting as normal. Shooting, it was hardcore, so it was -2 to hit. And then when we were in combat, we just did you got your fighting rank of how wide you were. But then there were no combat res, so you just fought because it was just too much to try and play something this big in a. I mean, we had 6 hours, I think we played it in.
Yeah, you did well to do that in 6 hours. To be fair,
exactly, yeah. And we out trying to work combat res and stuff out. Look, everyone's just a break. We're just going to fight until everybody's dead. Yeah. So, did that do that on its own? It must have done because he's not Liam. So yeah, I think this is the events recap. I think this is cool. We got auto queue. We don't need Liam Jack. Never need Liam again. So that was the Saturday. This was the Sunday. So we had a 2,500 point event, and I made some little Santa sleighs for everyone. So it was called Slay the Sleigh, which were baggage trains essentially, and it was just 3 missions, 20 people, and it just all round great day. So the little Santa hats we had for just a little side present. So you see there the red one. It was just a unique one. That was the Heist champion. So your army got 4 Santa hats. You had to place them on units that weren't monsters or characters. A bit of a oversight from me as well. There were a couple of Empire players there with steam tanks, or aren't monsters, they're chariots. So we had a few steam tanks with hats on, which was fine. You know, it is what it is. It were a bit of an oversight from me, because if I said can't put them on chariots, then other players that did have chariots couldn't put them on, which they did. So
yeah,
it was fine. It
maybe
worked
any
out.
toughness 7 chariot.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so it didn't affect any game score or anything. It was just something completely different, just to mess around with.
And whoever got the most over the weekend got the.
Yeah, they won it, exactly. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So there was a
How many
few.
did someone end up with?
So Ross, who got the Hat Heist champion, he actually because he's a really good player as well, and he usually wins a few of our events. I think you might have played him before as well. He won it, but he was, although he admitted to us when we were there, so he finished second as well. But he's like, "Oh, I've got too many of these trophies now, so I wanted a unique one because I'm throwing the others in the bin." I was like, "You are." So any he's not got champion, he's thrown in the bin apparently. I was like, "Oh, you bugger!" No, he went all out to try and win this Hat Heist champion thing. So I was like, "Nah, that's fair enough, mate. But yeah, he won with 11. So yeah, he didn't. He only missed out on 1 through the.
Yeah, I guess it was, and I guess it might be tricky towards the end. I guess you know, you might play someone who's already lost all.
Yeah,
lost all the hats, right?
In going into the last game, it was a straight shootout with Ross and the Pete, who finished 3rd. They were both on 7 hats going into the last game, and unfortunately for Pete, one of the last hats of the eventual winner, actually, who won the event, was on a unit of Grail Knights. So he's like, "Oh, yeah, I'm not getting those ammo." He's like, "Nope." So yeah, but no, that was it was just a bit of fun. I think people enjoyed it as well, because it was just something different than just having to. I personally made the missions quite simple, just for the fact that we could add this in, so people don't have a lot to think about.
That's cool.
So yeah, it was just baggage trains and strategic locations.
Is that the wooden spoon, the tinsel?
That's the wooden spoon, yeah, the tinsel dragon with the Santa hat on, which my good friend Joe won that, which were quite funny, bless him. Because she's like, "Oh, my wife's gonna kill her for things." So I was, "Well, you just play better, mate."
Nice, no, Christmas tree.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's it. Yeah, I know. Kate weren't too pleased when I had to cut the tinsel off the decorations of the kitchen, though. Liam, I don't know if you set this to roll on its own, but me and Jack just had to improvise, and we worked out we don't need you anymore.
That's fair enough. See you later.
Did it actually just? Have you said it?
No, I snuck in and pressed the button to do it.
Right, I didn't see it. So yeah, that was my weekend. Really good. Enjoy playing and TOing. So yeah, that was me for my event.
What army did you actually play in the siege? You didn't say.
I was playing the High Elves.
You were the one that killed the man.
Yes.
You
But I promise I won't talk about it too much on here, because Mark does listen to this. So.
Sorry, Mark.
Yeah, sorry, Mark. He was playing in the event on Sundays when he was still fuming. Like the angriest man I've ever met in my life. It was quite funny though, because he'd used the old rules. They had to take, when the mammoth died, I think they had to take a toughness or initiative test to jump off without dying, and he failed about 6.
Oh, it's lost all the crew.
So all his marauders just crumbled away underneath it all. So yeah, it were one of those. Pretty fun. It were a good weekend, to be fair.
Good.
Right, what we on next? Who's next?
Well,
Come on.
While Dan was up in Sheffield running events and playing siege games, Jack and myself were with TSN in Nottingham.
Yeah.
And this is Jack's army.
Yes, so I thought it was about time the ogres came back out. So Rob was running the first event using his new square-based comp. So armies have been put into 4 different tiers, and you get a different amount of points depending on what tier your army is. So ogres were in the C tier, so they could take 2,400 points to the event. Things like cafe are in A tier, could take 2,000. Some sort of middling armies, 2,200, and then stuff like Troll Horde and Skaven were allowed to take 2,600. So yeah, it gave me a bit of an impetus to pull the ogres back out, try them a bit of a larger scale, and see actually if it made any difference, or whether there's just some games they couldn't win regardless of how many points they had. So the extra points basically let me.
Sorry, is the tier system very similar to the Blood Bowl one in terms of how good the armies / teams are?
Maybe.
What do you mean?
Because they have a tiering system, don't they, in the Blood Bowl one, where you get certain is it certain bonuses or something like that?
This is just pure points.
Tier.
You get pure points.
It's just pure points. That's fine. Yeah, I've not read it. I don't know.
Yeah, and then at the end of the game, any points you lose get like multiplied by a modifier as well. So say I lost 100 points, it cost 100 points. The enemy actually only gets 83 points for it, or something like that. So it sort of tweaks it a bit on both ends, just to sort of.
It's basically to balance it down to being a cap from killing stuff.
Yeah. So it's basically a pretty standard list for me, except the extra points allowed me to get some Mournfang in, and a Fire Belly, because I wanted to just get I wanted to put the Hellheart into my list because I was worried about Wild Herd lists. And so to get an extra arcane item, a 20 point arcane item into list, I had to spend 160 points to get a Fire Belly in, because there's nothing cheap to bring it, and I think I forgot to use it in most of the games anyway, so that was handy. So big block of guts, couple of cannons, couple of units of Noblars, a couple of units of cats, the compulsory core bulls, because I took the non-renegade version. So the renegade rules version was classed as B tier, so you only got 2,200 points because of the extra rules you got. Whereas once I sort of had a sort of ponder over the benefits and the negatives, I decided to go for the extra points. The cortex of the bulls is just another scoring unit that I could just put on an objective. So I just thought the extra points were probably worth it a bit more to me than an extra rank of attacks, when I've only really got one unit that would benefit from it. So 2,400 points of ogres. And the baggage train I had to sort of quickly paint up the day before, as I realised that I hadn't actually played ogres since the match play update and didn't have a baggage train. I suddenly had to pull together a baggage train and some objectives, so that was my bit of hobby.
I took my Wolves of the Sea. It was basically my Forgotten North list with new upgrades thrown on, anything Marauder shaped, and a couple of extra units of Berserkers.
Because Chaos are a B tier apparently and get an extra 200 points for free.
Yes. Like I said the weekend, like Chaos feel more than fine, but they are a step below Cafe and Vampires. So it's one of them weird ones where they probably don't deserve the extra 100 points, the extra couple 100 points, but at the same time they do if they're against those.
Yeah, so I think it's a hard one where you've either got to choose whether you balance out what's going to win the event or balance out how the rest of the field plays. So it's, you could drop Cafe and Vampires down to 1,800 points maybe and take away some of the 0 to 2 toys.
Yeah, but it's the same difference, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I just had basically Unnatural Fortitude from the new Chaos book on anything that can have it.
Is that the extra
initiative? Extra toughness.
Yeah, extra toughness.
So all my Marauders on foot, which are now on 30mm bases. My Marauder Cav are toughness 4, and my Berserkers are toughness 5. And then both the sorcerers had Phonetic Foresight on them, which is one of the upgrades, which means that ambushers and scouts have to stay far away from them at the start of the game.
12 inches, isn't it?
12 inches ambushes and 18 for scouts.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's handy against balloons, I guess.
That was exactly why I took it.
Yeah.
And it did come up, so it's handy to have. But yeah, it's one of also came up in other games where I had them move forward, and so they just didn't do anything for the ambushing part of it. So swings and roundabouts. But
yeah, I guess
anyway.
it could be used quite like if you can get a relatively cheap sorcerer, you could use it to protect baggage trains. If you sort of plunk them in a corner and just make a big dead zone where the scouts can't come on, like use terrain to block other angles and that sort of stuff.
Definitely.
Cool.
The only thing I realised partway through this event is that effectively this army's got like 65 models in it, and I've had to rebase over half of them. Even the entire army was new. And the Marauders.
Yeah.
And I didn't buy a single model for this until the Chaos Arcane Journal dropped.
Yeah.
And I fully expected any forthcoming FAQ, all those 25mm Marauders, Berserkers, are probably going to go up to 30mm as well. So I've just got piles of old bases.
Dead bases.
Now,
I think we go for Mordheim, 7 for Mordheim or something like that.
I was going to look at potentially getting some Ungor allies, because they go on 25s.
Say that again?
Ungor with bows.
Ungor? OP Ungor?
With bows.
Ungor with bows, Liam? What I've been telling to buy forever. Like 40 of them.
Fully aware.
Yeah.
Maybe some of them.
Ungor with bows.
Yeah.
Ungor.
It's only to use the bases. Don't get any ideas.
Ungors.
Anyway, so into the games, and we're going to do this Jack me, and so on.
Cool. So I started off paired into my last opponent of my last tournament, Nick Moody with his beautiful Bretonians. So Bretonians are in A tier, and so he just got 2,000 points. He tweaked his list slightly based on some feedback I gave him, so sort of merged the Pegasus into a big nasty block, and he didn't quite have time to paint up some men at arms, so it's still not sort of fully optimized yet. But he basically had sort of, if we're looking at that top picture from sort of top to bottom, he had a couple of units of Knights of the Realm. One of them had his Damsel in, a couple of screening units of Peasant Bowmen with his I think 5 or 6 Pegasus behind with his Duke and BSB in there, and then another unit of, I think, Grail Knights down this bottom end. So yeah, we just had a pretty sort of straightforward deployment down. I figured I'd throw my Mournfang out on this right flank, and hopefully sort of take out those knights and sort of be able to mop around. I put central, knowing I had Arcane Urgency, so I figured I'd try and just pop that off early and sort of divert out to one side and sort of pin those knights in place, knowing that his Peg Knights would just go wherever they wanted anyway. I think we just had an objective each in our deployment zones. It's just the one where it's just 2 objectives. So I had my core bulls just sat behind my angle bus, ready just to sit on that objective. And yeah, pops my sort of cannons on my hill, ready to start either pot shotting down lines of knights or trying to take out characters. His Duke had Syrian as Locket, so wasn't an overly interesting target, but his BSB, I think, just had a ward save, so he was sort of my initial thoughts of a target, but obviously he was getting a lookout sir from the Pegasus Knight, so I knew in my head I had to take out Pegasus Knight before I could start looking to chip him away. So yeah, it played out pretty much as I thought. And got sort of pushed down that left flank, took the charge from the 2 knights and just sort of obliterated them really. I think I'd got my ward save on the unit. They had the regen banner in there, so I think they charged in, did 2 wounds to an ogre, didn't even kill one, and I sort of just bashed back. I don't think I've won massively. I think he pretty much just gave ground with both units, but that I think I killed three knights. But that led those sort of saber-tooths behind to charge into the flank of his unit with his damsel in, and they sort of chewed through her while the guts on the sort of next turn just sort of massacred through the rest of the units. Cannons did okay. I took a Pegasus out on that first turn. He then proceeded to pass his ward save for every shot for the rest of the game onto his BSB, which sort of worked its way around after my Mournfang sort of got into these knights on the right flank, ran through those, and then his Duke came in with his Ogre Blade and took out the unit in one turn. He had the extra D3 attacks on the charge.
Knightly temper.
Got 8 attacks and just did 8 D3 wound attacks and just literally just chopped the whole unit to pieces. I was like, oh, okay. And then I think he just sort of like worked his way massacring through everything else apart from the big block. And I think I ended up with a 13-7 win, something along those lines. So it was a lot tighter than the last time we played, where I think I sort of won quite handsomely. So no, it was a good game. And Nick's always a great opponent. And Liam, I don't think you put the picture in, but he came dressed as fully kitted up as a knight in armor.
No, I didn't.
For the event. So that's pretty
you can
cool.
Just see it here, like a little bit.
Yeah, you can just see his tabard there. But I think it's an outfit he created for release day of the Old World edition, when he'd sort of predicted this new Duke model that would be created, and then sort of obviously they released the Duke on foot, and then I think he got on like the community newsfeed and stuff like that in his armor, and his friend had come along dressed as his little hunchback, sort of peasant-y little Grail
attendant.
Yeah, so that was quite cool. So no, he's a great game to start off the weekend for me.
I played into Ivan and his cafe. Seeing the top one here, it was a Miao Ying double balloon sentinel.
You said
kind of
Ivan?
list. Ivan, yes.
What a name.
Yeah, lives down in London, from Russia originally.
What a guy.
And I very skillfully YOLO'd my army forward, so I didn't
Was
get
he
shot
an
to bits.
experienced Cathay player?
No, he was not experienced. It was his first real event. He'd done a couple of beginner ones down at Bad Moon.
So take that very skillfully back right now, Liam.
Well, I YOLO'd my army. Like,
Yeah,
it's
very
more a
skillfully.
joke of me.
Okay.
Because it's what I did for the entire first day. And as you can see, but there are some like tricks and tips to getting Cafe off the board. For example, up here, you can see I ambushed on a unit of berserkers in open order, one line, one deep, move them forward, and that lantern again. It's the same trick where if they're within 2 inches of a lantern, he either keeps them in combat or pushes them off a board. So I did that over that side. I did the same over on this flank with another unit of ambushers that came on, and the dragon went into the side of it and pushed it off a board.
Yeah, it's a handy tactic to remember. As long as the balloons are relatively near the board edge, I guess it's something
like definitely.
sort of
it's the only way you can get them.
Or something like
that. But yeah, by the end of the game, I think about turn 5, we fought Miao Ying on this hill in the centre, and then it fled. She fled about 35 inches through about 6 units and ended up on the board edge, and I killed her in a dragon form in turn 6, but obviously popped out as a human, and I couldn't kill her in Ivan's turn 6.
Does Rob's event award any points for
no, just a Green Knight.
Green Knight.
But yeah, so that ended up in 19-1 in the end, because of best part of 600 points left on the table between her and the general and everything else. But yeah, really good first game. Ivan, say, very new, but went out of chat, and he definitely, over the first day, ended up playing myself, Martin and AD. So we got like the full old Dragon Slayer experience session over the course of the day.
And now has also quit the hobby.
No, he'll be back, definitely.
So it's probably worth mentioning Rob's comp. Mainly Cafe is 1 character balloon or 2 normal balloons capped.
Yeah.
The cannons don't stack for the movement debuffs. That's about it, I think. a few sort of light touch tweaks.
And the ring isn't common anymore.
Ring isn't common. You can take ring once, yeah.
The Ring of Jet.
So game 2, Cathay for me. So originally when we looked at the list, it looked like there was only about 2 Cathay players, and then we got to the event and they suddenly sprung out of every doorway in the building. So I came up against Lee, who's a very nice gentleman, who had brought his Cathay. He just had two non-character balloons, 1 or 2 cannons, some lancers. He'd brought some allies, so he'd brought Jade Fleet, so he had 2 units of Outriders, and some other Empire bits I can't remember. But this one was a special feature in the middle of the board, and I think it was one where you sort of deploy slightly squished in from the edges,
Yes,
and you can't run off the end of the board. It's like the Battle for the Past one, but it's the other way around.
Short edge, yeah.
So he plunked these 2 balloons in front of me, and I got first turn. He made a bit of a mistake here where my Mornfang could see along the edge of that hill into that right-hand balloon, and I charged. He stood and shoot, and not expecting me to make the charge, and I sort of maxed out the charge and got into the balloon, and the Mornfang just ran through the balloon. The difference between the character balloon and the non-character balloon is
massive.
Incredible. So I hit it and just ran through it. I think might have lost 1 to stand and shoot, but the 3 remaining ones just sort of plowed through it.
Yeah. Without the extra wounds and the ward save, you'd be surprised how much it does make a difference.
Yeah, obviously the AP and sort of armor bane on the charge just sort of bust through the armor. The sort of D3 impact hits each. Yeah, just blew through it. The Iron Guts, I just sent down the middle, and sort of just of the opinion that if he wanted to put everything into me, I was actually quite happy for him to do that. It meant I could actually get into combat, and I don't think he really had enough to threaten me, even if he'd gone in with everything.
So was that an Oaken Shield Arcane Urgency?
Yeah.
Shove it on turn 1 forward.
Yep. That's my general play. So that, which is why I need the spell familiar on the Slaughtermaster, which limits me in a few other bits, but it's just, I think it's the only way really that ogres can play and be competitive. So they charged forward. I sort of got him sort of squished in that gap. Took out pretty much everything. I think he had a balloon left at the end of the game. I don't think I'd managed to sort of get hold of some of his sort of faster cav, and they just sort of spread into edges. I think it was a domination, so I think he picked up some points from there. And it was sort of 14-6, something along those lines, which I was very happy with. Didn't really have anything to sort of trouble me. But yeah, I think if he'd not given me that turn 1 charge with that balloons, and those 2 balloons had sort of had chance to sort of do their thing, and it would have been very different. But yeah, no, I just got in there, and cool. the ogres did the job as they usually do.
My game 2, I was against Kev with his Skaven. So it says Skaven get 2,600 points at this. So there's an awful lot of rats. And it's quite a different list with 2 units of 10 Giselles and a unit of 5 Giselles. So I was, again, decided to YOLO the list forward into the shooting army. And surprisingly, it's over here. I got in a position where I could charge everything into the Giselles on turn 1, and he charged me, which I was not expecting in the slightest. And Giselles are actually half decent in combat because they get a 4-up save, and they count as, they basically always got, because it's 2 attacks per model. They're like infantry even when they charge. if that makes sense.
Yeah, basically a second rank.
Yeah. And that was enough to scare off the dogs and deal with the Marauder horsemen. But when they got into the skin wolves afterwards, it went the other direction.
Not so good.
Yeah, skin wolves ate them quite quickly, as did the spawn. As you can see, Kev had a rather amazing objective in the middle of the board. A bunch of giant rats or around a pool. But I, over the course of about 3 turns, killed the warp lightning cannons, the Zales, and the giant rats, the abominations, and the unit of clan rats which are over on my far right. And then towards the end of the game, I charged into his big plague furnace block with, obviously this is a renegade Skaven because it's in the unit, but that had 2 Grey Seers, BSB, a plague priest in, and at the end of my units attacking, it had got just those in about 3 plague monks. There's 2 units of skin wolves, unit of Marauder horsemen, and a dragon, which is what that base is at the bottom. Just ripped at anyone and recorded the game after that. So at the end of that game, I added up and I'd scored about 4,400 points from because of all the extra mission, secret objectives, baggage train, whatever we were playing, I don't know. Lots of everything. But it was really great game. He was brilliant to play with and got one of my supporting votes.
Which went on to win,
didn't he? Yeah.
He tends to always win it whenever he's in attendance.
And see why.
He's a great guy. He just loves to play his game, and regardless of what's going on, he just likes to see rats on the table.
Proper gamer then.
Yeah, definitely.
So my game 3, I came to Matt Clayton, who I've played quite a few times now. I've sort of seen him on the podcast a few times across the table from me. He's usually fielding 3 Chaos Dragons, but this time just had 1 Warpfire Dragon and this massive block of Chaos Warriors, which basically just had all his points in and had like 4 or 5 characters in. It was Chaos Lord, BSB, a couple of sorcerers. Basically just, is basically the equivalent of my Gut Bus, but Chaos Warriors. And I think he had the extra initiative.
Yeah, he did.
The
and
new book.
Mark of Zinch.
And the Mark of Zinch. So like, but a lot of time, even if you charge into them, they're still going before you, which was a bit scary. And obviously, I think he had all the demonology. All the demonology spells in there, so they could get up to quite a nasty opponent. So I think I basically moved forward with all my stuff. My Iron Guts were basically ended up on that hill with the Mournfang sort of perpendicular to them, sort of from the house coming this way. Basically sat there saying, charge me, and I'm gonna, get you in both sides. But he just kept Steed of Shadowing out of any sort of trap I left him. I think he eventually sort of Steed of Shadows and caught me basically in this bottom left corner. With so he had his warriors behind me and his warp fire in front of me. Went for a charge with both, and only the warp fire actually made it in. The Chaos Warriors failed their charge, which let me sort of beat down a bit onto his warp fire. I beat that in combat. I made a mistake where I restrained rather than following up into the dragon because these warriors were behind me. I was a bit worried about that. And then the next turn, when I then went to charge it, then to sort of have a bit of extra initiative, it just fled from me, and with its swift stride, got out of the way. So we made a bit of an error there. That 7:30 on Saturday night where I did my dice up to more than it possibly could, and I caught it, and then had to retcon that. So it was a very low scoring game in the end. I think he took my Noblars out and my cannons. I scored a lot more on objectives. This was the 4 objectives plus special features, so I pretty much had 2 or 3 objectives every turn, and got the special feature. And I think it ended up in a draw, and I think I sort of had about 200 points more just based on objectives at the end of the game. It's just very cat and mouse.
I came over as you were like finishing off, and there was still most of your armies on the table.
Yeah, it's one of those where I couldn't risk just charging one unit into those Chaos Warriors because I don't think it's enough. I needed both the sort of ogres and the Mornfang. He just kept avoiding it, and had the sort of magical dominance over me with magic missiles and stuff, so it was able to just pick off other things. The dragon I knew I could never catch if it didn't want me to, so that just had free reign picking off the smaller units, which had usually paid for themselves from objectives before they died. So it was just a sort of a small sort of picking off. I think we were just two sort of pretty much well mirrored armies really, that neither really wanted to be the one that sort of took the charge. And where I was letting him sort of look to charge me, I usually had like a layered approach in front of it with a saber tusk and some Noblars maybe, so that he actually didn't get the charge into my ogres. He sort of had to break through a few things, and then I'd get the charge in onto him, and he'd just be like in a saber tooth and just get a little bit of easy combat res from that, but I'd get the full charge onto him. So obviously, he's an experienced player, he knew he didn't want to do that. And luckily he had the tools with the Seed of Shadows to be able to just sort of jump around me.
Yeah, really tight.
Yeah. So that was a draw. So finished day one on 2 wins and a draw.
My game 3 was against David and his beautiful Bretonians. Picked up Painting Award himself. And again, I'd love to say this was some kind of wonderful, skillful game. But I moved everything as fast as it could forward. Basically made sure that the Duke couldn't charge anything in turn 1. And between misfire dice and rolling 1 to wound, I think David killed 2 dogs and maybe a Marauder Horseman in his shooting phase and did 0 wounds to the dragon. So I got Dragon and Skin Wolves from the centre here into his unit of Knights of the Realm on foot, and then overran into a dragon, and his Peggy Lord, well, Baron, whatever it is, got into my dragon as a counter, knew it was coming. He rolled poorly on his Virtual Knightly Temper, just got 1 attack. Mark of Nurgle helped, and I took 6 wounds, but was it this one I took 6 wounds? Yeah, I took 6 wounds, but held, and that was at that point I killed him back, I think. And I think we called it at the end of David's turn 2.
Turn 2?
Yeah. The entire army was into him in some way, shape, or form. You can see on here, I had everything on this side. This combat here ended up in a perfect draw. So I got to lock the Pegasus Knights and the BSB in combat with Skin Wolves because they can't be countercharged. And I think we had, at the end of that turn, he had his unit of peasants, which was fighting the giant spawn in the middle here, and some archers, and the trebuchet left. So, yeah, another 20-0. Felt really bad about it because his dice were absolutely horrendous.
That's not your
I know, but it's like it robbed us of any chance of a game. But like, if you shoot 2 cannons and a trebuchet at Chaos Army, you expect to do at least 1 wound.
I hope so.
You didn't get anywhere near that. So, yeah, I finished on day 1 with 3 wins and 59 points at possible 60. Yeah.
Liam secretly eat that sucker.
Where I really wish it was 20-0 instead of win last draw. But anyway, into day 2.
So day 2, so I was in the top 4 with Liam, Malik, and Matt,
Amy.
I think. Yeah, and then Amy
Matt was
well.
sort of
was in 5th, and
Those
because I'd already
spiders are
played Matt,
insane.
I sort of got paired into Amy, who was I think on
2 wins and a draw.
2 wins and a draw as well, yeah. With this Troll Horde army, beautiful Troll Horde army, she ended up winning best painted for it, which I think she's collected a few events now. I think at the
she got Forgotten North as well, didn't she?
North as well. So 2,600 points, and there's some extra comp or uncomp on the Arachnaroks, which basically lets you spend whatever you want on them rather than being capped at 500 points. So there's 2 Arachnarok sort of shamans, a bone grinder, 2 units of trolls, so 2 units of 8, 1 of stone trolls, 1 of river trolls, which are great weapons and just sit in line hammer, so they're absolutely terrifying. There's so many attacks out of them, and they're just so hard to chew through because they're re-rolling regens because it's troll. So they're a tough nut to crack. And then a sort of smallish unit of goblins with a few nasty skulkers in, and the wizard, which is basically giving out the leadership and the anti-stupidity boss, basically.
Big smarts.
Big smart. So we had the special feature King of the Hill. So it was a bit of an odd one in that you couldn't actually get onto much of the hill because the special feature was sat in the middle of it and just takes it and is impassable. So it was a bit of a weird one where you could get in a situation where you basically just ran circles around the center. So Amy deployed a unit of trolls basically either side that could slot through those gaps in the terrain, and I sort of decided to pick on the stone trolls because they are easier to kill theoretically. They've got less wound.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, I'll try and take account of that flank and see what happens. My cannons had a lot of juicy targets with all the big monsters flying around. I got caught out a bit where I'd put my bulls on that right hand flank you can see in front of my Mornfang, and I just planned to move those bulls.
Bulls,
not balls.
Yeah, I'm gonna. I got for some reason I got balls out of
that. So the bulls were on that right hand flank, and I planned basically just to sort of march them through into that gap in the left hand side and block off those trolls. As I'd left my baggage train there as a nice juicy target, and then I'd sort of plow into them with the Mornfang. However, I did not expect that pink Arachnarok to be an inch in front of them at end of turn 1. It Hand of Morked and basically teleported because Hand of Mork is still like basically uncomped travel mystical pathways, so it basically teleported halfway across the board and then gets to sort of do a full move afterwards as well and just plonked itself right in front of those bulls. So that bulls with a U. So that meant those Mornfang were in a precarious position as they sort of got wedged into place. The Anguts did their usual
big smarts.
Big smarts. And as expected, those trolls sort of marched up, filled into those gaps. The green Arachnarok sort of went round and hid behind that sort of woods in the top left, having seen the 2 cannons pointed at it. And the sort of bone grinder, which is the rogue idol in the top right corner, sort of used that building as cover. I did as I expected, moved my Iron Guts up as far as they could, and sort of basically plunked them in front of, basically moved them up to take the special feature and sort of just sit in that gap so neither of my flanks could be hit. I just sort of sat there, and at that point the goblins had moved up sort of just to the other side of the hill on the other side, so I'd sort of left myself with a nice charge into them, possibly, or into the stone trolls if they sort of crept forward a bit more. The cannons, I think, took 2 shots into the green Arachnarok and did 8 wounds. So that was helpful. The bulls basically just stood where they were. The Mornfangs dropped back a bit to create a bit of space, and those saber-tooths moved in behind the bulls in such a way that when the Arachnarok ran through them, it would clip into the sort of cats and sort of give me then the angle to get a charge in with a Mournfang and still have 3 inches to get my impact hits. So that was fine. Amy sacrificed the BSB out of the goblins to act as a little buffer in between my guts. But my Firebelly had moved sort of around the right-hand side of the hill, and that had a charge into the goblins. So I was able to charge him into the goblins, charge my Iron Guts into the BSB, which then had it overrun into the goblins. So I managed to fight them, fight both of those combats in the same turn. Unfortunately, she had captured the central feature that turn and had rolled Unbreakable, which was really unfortunate because that absolutely screwed me over. It meant the Stone Trolls were then able to sort of rear charge into the Gut Bus. While that was happening, the Mournfang basically ran through the Pink Ragnarok on their charge and overran into the Bone Grinder, or sort of got into the Bone Grinder the next turn. I killed the Bone Grinder, which then died, fell on top of me, and killed all the Mournfang, who were just about to go and capture the baggage train up in the top right. So that was a couple 100 points that I suddenly dropped.
Literally.
Yeah, the Green Arachnarok on 2 wounds managed to actually survive the game. He sort of crept around, managed to take out both the cannons as he sort of just ran off the board, came back on and sort of got me. The Guts slogged it out with the Stone Trolls for a couple of turns. They were horrendously difficult to shift. I was winning combat by 5-10 combat res, and just not actually killing anything because they were just regenning anything. Whereas because I was locked in combat style, I wasn't able to get my ward spell off. Because I was pinned between the goblins and the Stone Trolls. I was able to get easy combat res off the goblins, but I was never able to break combat to sort of get some cast in. So my bulls were just my Iron Guts were just getting slaughtered by the trolls. It seemed to be the vomits that were doing a lot of the damage. And so that combat finished with me basically killing all the goblins with the characters in there. I killed the Stone Trolls. But I think I had 2 Iron Guts left accompanying my characters. And there was still that big unit of river trolls basically on the other side of the hill. So at that point, I was like, oh, well, I don't really fancy putting them into those trolls because I've just seen what happened. However, there was, I think, pressure from maybe one of the Iron Blasters at that point on the river trolls, basically on turn 6. So they reformed into a 4x2. To sort of capture, and with the intention of capturing the sort of center objective. I had like a longish charge into them. I think an 11-inch charge with the remaining Iron Guts. And at that point, I knew they weren't going to sort of kill me, so I thought it was worth taking the chance. She'd captured my baggage train, so I know we were sort of in a sort of, I wasn't really sure where the score was sitting. I know I'd killed a lot of points in the sort of Ragnarok and the Bone Grinder, but she basically mopped up everyone else and sort of got a lot of the other objectives. So I went for the Longbong charge, got it in, and I wasn't very confident, having seen what happened previously. But I went in, absolutely splattered them, broke them, and ran them down, and sort of suddenly had like a 600 point swing where I captured the trolls and then got the secret objective out of the middle feature out of it, which pushed me into I think about a 15-5 victory. But it was the hardest game for sure that I played in a long time. Those like the extra 600 points, you can definitely feel, although it was only an extra 200 points on my list. Those trolls were just so terrifyingly tough. It made for a really fun game.
Cool. I'll have to get mine out at some point and give them a go.
Yeah, there's definitely some play in them for sure.
Excellent. I had the pleasure of Malik in my 4th game. That isn't sarcastic, Dan, so don't pretend it is.
Didn't say anything.
I know you were going to. I could see it in your eyes. I went to my favoured tactic. So deployment on this side into end of my turn 1 on this side. It was basically just deny the balloon any landing spots again, and try and get in a position where if stuff lives, then I get into the 3 cannons and start picking off bits afterwards.
Yes, Malik's list was 3 cannons, the character balloon with the 5 up, 5 up, that never changed. Unit of infantry,
warriors, 2 units of lancers, one with a ring,
lancers,
one with a
fly banner,
rod,
one with the ring of jet,
and then a Shugengan general and
3 Shugengans.
one big one, 2 baby ones. It's definitely the hardest list at the event by a comfortable distance.
Yeah.
So on turn 1, between basically my dragon had landed close enough, and with other bits where Malik had to charge to stop skin wolves, the dragon was only going to be hit with cannons half the time because it couldn't land on the hill. So we had to effectively roll a 2, 4, or 6 to hit the dragon, and obviously anything more than that and went over, and the misfire went over as well. It didn't hit. He only hit the dragon once with the cannonballs, and with that one, rolled a 1 to wound. Did take a couple of wounds off the spawn behind the dragon then, with one that overshot. And the Shugengan Lord did kill my second spawn with a charge when his monkey club. Did 6 wounds, and I didn't pass a regen save, which was a bit annoying, but it more than balanced out the cannon fire doing next to nothing. On turn 2, in Malik's turn 2, I had this unit of Marauder horsemen with my one of my wizards in, and they fled from a charge from Shugengan who was over here somewhere. They over here somewhere, like you can see it. There we go. Popped up. And yeah, and they fled the entire game, never moving particularly far, but never rallying. And that was, in the end, what cost me the game. Not the points from them not rallying, but missing out on 8 possible magic missiles.
And not being able to do anything back.
Yeah. So I left the lantern on 3 wounds. I left the Shugengan Lord on 2 wounds, and one of the Shugengan generals on 2 wounds, and 1 more wound on the lantern or the Shugengan makes it into a draw, because I'm getting 50% of the points, and a wound on 2 of them shifts it into a win to me in terms of how close the game actually was. So fantastic game, probably the most tactical game of the weekend by some distance, but I lost 12-8 in the end, but could have very easily, if Malik had a bit more luck early on, I would have never got to the point where I had a chance to win it, and then just a little bit more luck towards me at the end meant I would have probably picked it up instead. But really enjoyable game, and want to play again at some point so I can figure out what I did wrong.
So
failed rally test.
It is, but I say he didn't wound the dragon at all, and at one point my dragon had to charge his Shugengan Lord. I did, I want to say 5 wounds to him in the combat phase, and then Malik got off a doppelganger with his monkey club, and between the actual attacks in the combat phase and the monkey club only doing like 5 or 6 hits, I only failed 2 ward saves out of the 6 I was asked to make that turn. So yes, it was annoying that they didn't rally, but I rode my luck in other places.
Swings and roundabouts, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like really enjoyable, and I say I want to just get my head around what I could have done different, or if I actually played it well enough, then was it just those little bits on dice sometimes that decide the result of the game?
Yeah, so this left Malik on 4 wins, me on 3 wins and a draw. I was sort of next in the list. I was second, so I also had the pleasure of playing Malik game 5. So this was the weird sort of corner deployment one with a special feature in the middle. So I knew my best sort of, a good tactic for me was to hide my cannons behind terrain. I get the benefit of being able to move and then shoot. So just in case I got a second turn, I sort of hid those behind this sort of building, which was these trees. Sort of deployed everything else fairly sort of defensively in this corner. Had the Mournfang sort of watching this flank where the balloon was, and did my usual arcane agency and sent the guts forward to try and capture any points that I could. I got turn 1. Cannons moved. Mournfang moved forward a little bit. Cannons moved out just enough to see one of Malik's cannons over in that far corner, and sort of killed one of those. Turn 1, which was just next to where those 2 Shigengans are, under his hand. So I started off with some points, so that was good. Malik then proceeded to basically kite me for the rest of the game. His 3 Shigengans basically just flew around my gut bus throwing magic missiles at it. And he spent every other turn moving cannons to get a line of sight through the gut bus. Would probably get 1 cannon shot into them a turn. After a couple of turns of trying to target my tyrant and realizing that he could just tank every cannon that came at him, he started trying to pick off the actual unit to try and capture the points from those. His balloon, which literally snapped off at the very start of the game, which was unfortunate. So it's now just an empty stand, basically moved to in front of that hill. I, having played Cap earlier on, decided the Mournfang could take it, so they charged into it. Lost half the unit to stand and shoot and failed the charge, and then he just sent it fleeing off the board the next turn. So they died by turn 2, so that was not good. That balloon then proceeded to clean up the rest of this flank, took out both units of Noblars and the cannons. I think a Shigengan came down and took out the bulls. Turn 6. So one of the few highlights that I got was my Slaughtermaster casting a tentative fireball at his unit of 5 lancers. I think I got 7 hits, 5 wounds. Malik then rolled 5 ones for his saves, so I killed the whole unit with 1 fireball. So that was my other bit of points that I managed to capture. The balloon sort of tidying up this corner sort of ran off the board turn 5 after killing a cannon, came back on. I had a full unit of Noblars still sat on the objective, and I was like, oh, he's not, at least I might be able to, control my objective. He proceeded to get the 5-inch template and killed all of them in one round of shooting. So that wasn't ideal. And yeah, it was a tricky one for me. I don't see how I could ever have won this one. I think I picked off 4 wounds off his general as well with a cannon shot, sort of round 1 or 2, and then that you proceeded just to use. There's a lot of terrain on this board, and Rob was playing that cannons can't shoot past woods or buildings or hills or anything like that. So there's a lot of place to sort of just basically hide afterwards. So he was very good at seeing where my max moves allowed me before the balloon got in and sort of pin them in place. So I never actually got back into that. So I just basically started running towards those cannons, decided better of it, and just hung out next to the central feature and tried to get cover from the buildings and woods, and was just basically taking a cannon shot a turn and 3 sets of magic missiles. I think we got to turn 6. My gut bus was there still with two guts in, so we hadn't done enough to get the points for the unit. Did a quick count up of points, and he realized that he'd won, didn't need to risk it, so we sort of called it there. We then actually tried playing out the combat where it's 3 monsters charged into the unit. He didn't even manage to kill a ogre because of sort of the regens and that sort of stuff, so he wouldn't have actually got the points from it. I think I did like half a dozen wounds through on his on the different monsters, but he still managed to win just because of regen saves. I just passed, I think he beat me by 1, and I passed my sort of save, my sort of rally test fine. So yeah, it wouldn't have made any difference. But it meant I captured the sort of central objective and stuff. So yeah, it was a relatively, although it sounds like a lot of stuff was killed, I had so much points in that sort of big block, it only ended up like a 13-7 to Malik, I think, because I managed to get that central feature and stuff. But yeah, I don't see a game with this list can ever beat that sort of top tier Cathay army. Maybe if it had been sort of King of the Hill, and I could have sort of sat on the hill and captured a lot of points every turn, that might have made a bit more of a difference. But as it was, I just don't think this army has enough in it to, the 2 cannons can do a bit of work, but with the amount of terrain on the boards and the balloon, like I hit the balloon like 4 times, he just passed either his 5-up armor or his 5-up ward. Yeah, I just
all your damage is either that 1 block or
the
cannons, or you get lucky more
just run away from, especially when he's dropping my movement with his cannons.
Yeah,
and there were 2 woods either side of the terrain, so I was always had a toe in the woods, so I was always losing some movement from those as well. So it really slowed me down, and I just never seemed to manage to get an arcane urgency off. He basically just had his monsters like an inch next to me, either side and behind me every turn. So I'd move. If I'd got an arcane urgency off, maybe I'd got into a half decent place to sort of get somewhere, but he just managed to dispel me every time, pretty much.
No, he knows what he's doing, doesn't he? How to block and annoy and just play it right.
Yeah, so he basically picked up everything apart from the gut star. I think I had a unit of Sabertusks in one corner and a unit of Sabertusks in another corner, which sort of contested for the domination a little bit. But he got two sort of free corners as he cleared up those. So not only those Noblars got blown off the terrain feature, they would have captured me that quarter. But that balloon sort of did that. So yeah, so it wasn't like a massive defeat. But I think that was mainly because he didn't need it, especially with it being win-loss draw rather than 20-0. He just needed to sort of get enough to get over the line, and the domination really helped him with that rather than me. Possibly I could have been a bit more aggressive with my Noblars at the start and sort of push them up into corners to sort of split his forces a bit more. But I think even still, like once he went near them, they just disappear. So
they do.
So yeah, it was a good game, nice learning experience, but it was one that there's just no way of me winning, I don't think. So even with the extra points, I think it's balanced out the rest of the field a bit more, but definitely the top lists are still very difficult, if not impossible to deal with.
I
was very happy with a sort of 3-1-1 over the weekend.
Should be.
And that sort of dropped me into 5th or 6th place, I think, overall. So good performance.
I did exactly what I told Jack off for doing in the last game and didn't take any photos. So I sent a message to Rebecca earlier, said, have you got any pictures of your army so I can put it out? And this is what she had, with the exception of this tree man over here wasn't in the list. And so it's a really different Wood Elf army. It is.
Yeah, this is what I played last event, largely.
But everyone gets 2,600 points there, whereas this is, they get 2,600. I'm playing 400 points down, and it showed. So it is double dragon, one of which has the meaty hammer, which we'll come on to.
Nice.
It is double treeman, treeman ancient, who's a level 3, and then 3 big blocks of dryads, 2019, and 5 eternal guard, who make the army legal at the bottom. And my army has historically struggled with lots of toughness 6. I can deal with 2. I can usually deal with 3, but 5 is well above what I'm equipped to deal with, because you have to send your dragon into something
well above what anyone can deal with, I think.
Yeah. My dragon, we basically screened each other out pretty well. Rebecca put all her big monsters on the 9-inch line, and obviously I'd done very similar. And we fought, and I ran out of monsters first, is the long and short of it. She played really well towards the end to deny me getting her baggage train with berserkers coming on the board. I protected mine, and then we split domination exactly down the middle. But come the end of the game, I'd only killed a block, a tree man, and one of the dragons, whereas I'd lost everything apart from some horsemen, a wizard, my dogs, and maybe one unit of skin wolves. So Becca picked up enough points to make it a 14-6 to her in the end. And yeah, it was, I got outplayed at the back end, and army matchup at the start didn't help in the slightest. But I think it's just, yeah, it's surprisingly tough. Like, and the way the scenario being different sides as well means that if you're not 24 inches apart, plus whatever you deploy, you're 30-40 inches apart. So getting some of even my fast stuff into the blocks to try and pick up the 250 points a pop is difficult when you've got dragons with massive charge arcs everywhere. But I said I'd mention that meteor hammer. My dragon lost the fight to the meteor hammer elf lord, because that hammer was, she had an aspect of a cat as well. So I would charge in, or she would charge me. Obviously the challenge happens, and while I'm making her reroll 6s, she's rolling 1s, 2s, and 3s in the challenge. And then the hammer is, so hammer's hitting 2 to 3 times per combat and just wounding on 3s, and I'm getting next to no save from that other than my ward. And it just added up over time, and eventually I got her down to 1 wound on the dragon, and I was forced to overrun into it with mine. And before I could kill her dragon, hammer, smash, no more Chaos Lord.
Yeah, I think this is especially where it's probably the most useful on those low strength characters. The elves that previously would have just been there for the ride on top of the dragon, right?
Yeah.
They're actually now, pretty well equipped to sort of actually hit back and deal with these big sort of opponents that usually would just bully them off.
Yeah, it's definitely not a dragon delivery system. It's there and not just to provide a ward save. But so I finished 3-2, and I think that put me, let's put the next slide on, 8th. I'm going to get rid of that because it's going to get really annoying if for the next few minutes. But yeah, so as you can see, Jack finished ahead of me.
And that's why it's really annoying, right? Because I finally...
No, not. It was home, but it was really annoying.
Yeah. Finally, for the first time, I think this year, or well, ever, I finally managed to pip Liam. Didn't pip him to the post, but managed to finish above him in the rankings for once. Which was,
considering
nice.
We've done about 6 events this year together, that's you got there in the end.
Yeah, I mean,
and all it took was some really powerful wood elves.
All year, though, to be fair.
Yeah, that was it. And say
just gotta do better, Liam.
I know. Malik won the event. Did Matt finish 2nd or 3rd?
Yeah, Matt sort of jumped up to 2nd. Rebecca 2nd.
Rebecca 2nd. Matt in 3rd.
And Matt came in 3rd. Yeah. So yeah, it was good. So we both played, but like all the top table basically. And yeah, it was a good competitive field. It felt a lot closer across it, like other than Malik's list, which looked scary regardless. I think the extra comp points definitely made it feel a lot closer through the rest of the spread.
Yeah, definitely. I think it, like, first impressions of Squarebase Camp was this isn't enough, but it's a very simple solution to a problem, and I don't think that's changed. I think it works.
I think there's a few factions which probably will get shifted up, and down a bit. I know the Paul, who took the Renegade Ogres, had a more torrid affair than I did, and I was surprised that they had less points than me in the first instance rather than more points. So I think there'll probably be some tweaks in directions for the Ogres maybe, and Wood Elves by the look of it. There's a lot of Wood Elves.
The Legacy ones are better. I think the Legacy ones are actually better than the Renegade ones.
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of Wood Elves there that did really well this weekend. So I think they'll probably look to get shifted quite smartly.
Martin came fourth and Rebecca second, so 2 of the 4 Wood Elves in the top 5.
Yeah, and I think the other ones only dropped places because a lot of the Wood Elves played each other. So they they definitely benefited from the extra points. The second dragon seemed to do well in a lot of the lists. But no, I think it definitely made for a different feel of play as well across some matches where previously you'd look at them and go, oh, this is an easy win, and then suddenly it becomes a much more difficult affair. Or alternatively, where ones where previously you'd have thought you had no chance and actually got a bit of a sniff into it. So now I look forward to sort of playing a few more and trying out some of the other considered weaker factions and see how they can play into it. Not sure anything apart from Liam maybe can sort of threaten Malik if he returns with that list.
If you'd just played better, Liam.
Yeah, no.
He only threw it because he didn't want to play me game 5.
I was scared of Jackie Logan.
You're scared of that gutless.
Scared of getting run over by a Moanfang.
Malik is on a bit of a tear with him, but I say no shame in that. He knows what he's doing, and it's a really good list. So is what it is, and it's up to us to figure out how to beat it.
Well, or GW to do something about it. So we'll see what happens in January, whether anything gets tweaked when the next FAQ drops. See how they sort of interact with the rules and whether there is anything that can be done about them without completely nerfing them and making them worthless.
Yes, I still want to be able to use them.
I think it does just prove. I mean, this is going to sound really awful now, but if you know how to use them, they're good. If you don't, then you the fella you played at Warhammer World, bless him. He's not experienced with them, and you are, so you know how to play against them and how to deal with them. Whereas obviously Malik knows exactly what he's doing with them, so that's why they are as good as they are.
I think the other 3 cafes they're all finished below 10th at the weekend.
Exactly.
So,
and
I know Brian and Malik played each other round 1, so I think that sort of gave a good indication of who was probably going to win, whoever got that one.
And that isn't a dig at anyone. I play cafe myself, and I'm nowhere near as good as Liam, or definitely not Malik. So, but I don't play enough. So maybe if I played every week like you guys.
You do play every week.
You do play most
weeks. I don't play every week. I turn up to the club every week. I don't play every week.
Yeah, so you're analysing like 10 games a week. You should be well on it.
Yeah.
Analysing. I don't know about
that. But then he watches football and should be playing in the Premier League.
Yeah. So that was the final event of this year, or maybe not. I've got a little one day on the 28th at the TSN Arena. He's doing a few one days between Christmas and New Year, so I picked up a ticket for one of those. I'm just going to go and enjoy myself. Maybe I'll take the Minotaur herd, see how they fare for a one day.
I saw a really good one on Facebook yesterday. I think it was on one of the Old World group pages at 12:51. He was on about taking it to the one I think we're going to in March, and he got Minotaur herd, and he had 3 units of Minotaurs, and it actually looked pretty decent. 3 units of Minotaurs, a Doom Bull. I think it was 10 Ungor and 10 dogs, but it looked actually quite solid for the points level. I was like, it's probably all right until it runs in something like 20 Outriders. And then you're like, oh.
So yeah, my next job is to decide on what to take to Durham. That's my
just paint 90 goblins like me, and then buy more.
I've nearly finished painting the Tomb Kings. I've just got a catapult, and a scorpion to paint, I think, to finish those off.
Nice.
So potentially bring those. Mortuary Cult came last place this weekend, so I don't know if that's any indication on how the comp affected those, or whether you just had some tough matchups. But yeah, I need to have a think and see what I want to bring, because there's no extra points available at Durham, unfortunately. For
have you actually read the updated pack as well, Derek?
Don't be daft.
Didn't know there was an updated one.
Yeah.
There you go.
So there's God. So there's no longer secret missions anymore. It's baggage train. So you better build a baggage train as well.
I've got baggage trains for most of my armies.
That's okay then. Yeah. There's no secret
not me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, me and Aaron had a chat about it, and I think the secret missions, there isn't enough point swing to really make a difference. That makes
usually
sense.
50 to 100 points, isn't it?
Yeah, and the 100-point ones are nigh on impossible to do.
And with obviously the gaps are now a lot bigger between.
Exactly, they're a lot bigger. So I think they scrapped them when we had a chat about it, which makes sense. Until you get significant points for the secret missions, I think
it'd be like in like a foray event, or the
something where it is
in those ones they actually come really good into play.
Yeah,
Rob did say he was dead happy because at one point someone did win a game because they completed a secret mission and the opponent didn't, and it was enough of a swing. But I'm with you guys. They need to be at least double what they are now.
Just double the points would be better. Yeah, I think that enough. It's more like you've killed a unit then, if that makes sense, in terms of points, rather than half a unit or something like that. And one thing I will say actually about my event this weekend, and in terms of the game being balanced and the points wise, we played 12,500 points, and I think we had 8 draws for the entire day.
Points. That's impressive.
2,500 points. Sorry. Yeah, we had eight draws.
You had no Cathay players, did you?
No, we had no Cathay players. We had every dwarf player in the world though there for some reason. It's probably why there were a lot of draws, because they just weren't quick enough to fight combat in 6 turns. But no, I think because of obviously the points brackets rise after 2,001 points, I think it rises to 451, and I think that's why I think from just that that event,
to get that,
I felt the game was a little bit more balanced, because it did matter that you killed stuff. You can't just stand there and go, I'll just take this one objective for 2 turns, because there isn't enough of a point swing in it in that sense. And I think like 2,500 to 2,600, I think is a good place for the game, I think, and where it probably should be played. I mean, that's my opinion anyway, but and that's just going off my event stats, let's say. Because you either smash somebody or you most likely draw, or very, very, very minor wins. There are a lot of mine, like 4-2s, because obviously we use the GW one, which were it were good. I like it because it was a lot more equal as well. And we went to everything. Everyone got the thing, and there were no dice down situations like we had in the doubles.
Everyone played all the games.
Everyone were chatting. Everyone played a full game. Yeah, so in 2.5 hours, I think it's proven that you can play it as well. 2,500 points. So I think mine. I was going into next year will be that. I think as a standard. I think now. With some different
bigger games up with you.
Yeah, that's it. Right. So should we end it there? Jack, do you want to?
We're starting to
do your YouTube thing. Come on, Jack. Last one at you.
Like, follow, subscribe. Let's get us to 1,000 followers next year. That'd be good.
10,000.
10,000. We might do maybe one more festive time sort of episode over New Year period to sort of talk New Year predictions, how we get all goals are for next year, that sort of stuff. Maybe just a short sort of half hour.
We could probably do one after your event if you want.
Yeah, we'll see how we're all faring, how hungover Dan is over the period. And we'll see you potentially next year, but maybe squeeze you one more time.
We'll try and squeeze one in you, and it also depends if I get to edit it within the month.
Well, that definitely won't happen. So we'll see you next year.
This year, yeah. But no, I probably won't see you now. But hope you both have a lovely Christmas with your families and everybody. So, and everybody else watching, listening, hope you all have a good Christmas and New Year if we don't get one in.
For those Spanish followers out there.
Yeah, Feliz Navidad indeed. I think we've got many Spanish followers. I don't know all that. Merry Christmas is in other languages, so. But yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much. And thanks for your support this year. Again, please, drop some content in the comments. Let us know what you want from us, what you don't want from us, and we'll
let us know if we really don't need Liam anymore, because I think it worked quite well, Jack, didn't it?
Just ghost Liam. Liam with a stick to prod his keyboard. Right, thanks all, and we'll see you
Cheers, guys.
next time.
Bye-bye.